5 News starts with breaking news.
And that breaking news coming from the Ozark United soccer team. The team just announced where it plans to build a stadium in Rogers. It'll be just south of the Pinnacle Hill Shopping Center near the intersection of Bellevue and Perry Roads. The news comes after it announced it was backing out of the original location last year. Team says the new location will allow for better stadium amenities and room for long-term growth. Ozark United says it plans to release more details soon, including renderings of the stadium plans. Thanks for joining us. I'm Darren Bobb. Chief Meteorologist Scott Covert now continues our coverage of maybe severe weather tomorrow or Friday.
Yeah, a couple of different storm systems out there. Today was nice, right? High pressure to thank for that. Those strong southerly winds. Got a bit breezy out there, huh? That'll be the case again tomorrow. That's our next weather system off towards the northwest. It arrives tomorrow evening, meaning for the most part, tomorrow's actually a nice day. We'll drop into the low 50s overnight tonight. 70 by lunchtime in northwest Arkansas. Sunshine out there. Clouds, however, start to build in later into the evening. Before those clouds get here, we're going to see temperatures pretty much just as warm as it was out there today. Now, in the River Valley, very similar setup. Low 50s overnight, low 70s by lunchtime, 80s in the afternoon, becoming mostly cloudy. Here's the severe weather setup for tomorrow. It's a level 2 potential primarily for the River Valley. That's there in yellow, but that level 1 potential, this is all out of 5, right? So we're on the lower end of the scale. That now extends into northwest Arkansas. Hail looks to be our primary concern, but there are other facets to this that we'll have to track for you. We'll do just that and an update on some changes for that Friday forecast. Also a chance of storms then too. Details here in just a few.
All right, Scott, thanks. The civil cases against Dr. Brian Hyatt moving forward after a potential trial date now set for next year. More than 170 lawsuits filed by former patients accused Hyatt of unlawful coercion and abuse at Northwest Medical's Springdale Behavioral Unit. Only on 5 News tonight, Jacob Luthi has the latest from today's Washington County Court hearing.
We need a deadline. We need a trial date.
During a Tuesday hearing, Washington County Judge Doug Martin said he wants to see the civil cases against Dr. Brian Hyatt move forward. He granted an initial trial date of August or September 2026.
The sooner the better for us. I mean, the longer this drags out, the more opportunity there is to lose witnesses, to lose information, to lose critical evidence.
Alan Lane with the Odom Law Firm has already filed 172 lawsuits against Dr. Hyatt. In those, former patients allege Hyatt unlawfully coerced, abused, and held them against their will in Northwest Medical's Springdale Behavioral Unit to receive more money from Medicaid, Medicare, and insurance companies. While the lawsuits have been consolidated, attorneys from both sides are looking to see which 2 individual cases to try first as part of a bellwether trial.
The bellwether process is one of those processes to try to narrow the focus of the whole project and all of the cases to a number of specific plaintiffs, hopefully that are representative of the bigger group. And those individual trials then sort of establish, if you will, the value or the issues for all of the rest of the cases.
Attorneys still need to determine an exact trial date, but Lane says the judge granting a trial for next year helps move toward closure for his clients.
Some of these patients were at the BHU in 2018, so this is something that's been going on for a long time. We want to put it behind and we want to offer them some closure on this part of their life and this thing that they experienced that's really been a pretty horrific matter for them.
Hyatt was not in court Tuesday and his attorneys declined to comment. He also faces 2 criminal counts of large-scale Medicaid fraud. In Fayetteville, covering news where you live, Jacob Luthi, 5 News.
New at 6, we've learned that 2 more suspects have been arrested today in connection with that deadly shooting that happened on Saturday in Rogers. Benton County prosecutor says Jesus Rodriguez and Christopher Nicasio have both been arrested in connection to the shooting of 41-year-old Andres Fonseca. It brings the total number of suspects now facing charges for the shooting to 5. Prosecutors announced the arrest of Jared Stiles, Amy Manduano, and Eileen Roca yesterday. We told you about them. All 5 suspects are facing capital murder charges. Also new tonight, a Madison County man pleads guilty today to second-degree murder. Madison County prosecutor says Edward Austin was sentenced to 25 years in prison for the death of his wife, Joan Larson. Prosecutors say Joan suffered from multiple sclerosis and was found abandoned in a wooded area suffering from severe hypothermia. She was later taken to Washington Regional, where she died about a month later. One person is dead after a head-on collision this week in LaFleur County. Oklahoma Highway Patrol reports the crash happened yesterday morning on Highway 271 just southwest of Worcester. Both drivers were taken by helicopter to hospitals in Tulsa. A passenger, though, 39-year-old Gregory Savage of Tallahena, was pronounced dead at the scene. State troopers are still investigating the cause of that crash, but they did say weather did not play a factor. Everyone was also wearing a seatbelt. It's been nearly 8 years since Arkansas executed a death row inmate, and that could soon change. Nitrogen gas as an execution method is now just a governor's signature away from becoming an option. It passed today, final in the Senate. Controversial bill once again sparked debate among lawmakers today. Fayetteville State Senator Greg Leding called the method experimental and inhumane. Senator Kim Hammer, though, argued in favor of the change, saying that they're not there for the inmates, but for the victims.
Because they didn't want to be in the position they were put on in the first place any more than you and I want to be put in the position that today we're going to vote for this bill.
A horrific act of violence cannot be a horrific act of violence. It doesn't make us tough. It doesn't make us just. It just means that we too have committed a horrific act of violence.
Right now, there are 25 inmates on death row in Arkansas. Bruce Ward has been there the longest since 1990. His scheduled execution was delayed in 2017. New tonight, the Oklahoma Department of Health says it's confirmed 2 cases of measles. They believe both patients were exposed to the disease while outside the state and were immediately quarantined after realizing they were exposed. Right now, the health department does not believe there is any public health threat. According to the CDC, there have been 222 measles cases confirmed this year, mostly in Texas, with almost all of those patients being unvaccinated. 2 of those infected people have died, including 1 child in Texas.